It's Tuesday the 21st of July 2020 today, and it's very early in the morning. I've just got up and cooked myself a fried breakfast because I'm setting off on a 400km DIY randonnee as part of my Super Randonnee series of DIY rides this year of 200, 300, 400 a day and 600. When the United Kingdom went into lockdown during middle of March, Audax UK, like most UK sporting bodies, just closed their system down, and it's still closed down. It will be partially opening to 200km DIY and permanent rides from August 1st, but meantime I've been building back my fitness and I've got several rides in, 50, 100, 150km rides, which I made some videos about. And then I decided I wanted to do a Super Randonnee series myself this year. It won't be validated by Audax UK. I don't really care, to be honest. There's never been much of a pointy rider anyway, if that makes sense. I just love the experience of the ride, so I don't really care if they're not validated by Audax UK. So I've done 5 or 6 200s. About 3 weeks ago I did a 300km DIY ride down from Bath down to Lymington and back on the Solent coast. I had about 5 hours of rain during it, and I didn't film much on that just because it was too unpleasant to film in. So I've done my 200, my 300, today is going to be a 400km ride. My DIY randonnee rides, as I said, are almost exactly like DIY Audaxes, and I've done so many of those, I pretty much know the system inside out. And one of the biggest tips I would pass on is calculate your own time allowances, because it allows you to gauge how you're doing on the road. It's just like having a superpower. I can't control the weather, I can't particularly control my speed that much as I get older, but what I can manage is time very efficiently. It's now 10 to 6 and I'm on the road. I've ridden out of Bath eastwards along the A4. Just before I get to the outskirts of Chippenham, I've turned onto this minor road. There's the busy A4 along there. So today's route goes from Bath, skirts around the edge of Chippenham, around the edge of Swindon, through Highworth, Farringdon, up through Oxford, up to Buckingham, which is my halfway point. I'll have lunch outside the old jail there, and then turn round and parallel that route back through Banbury, Burford, then back to Bath at 303 kilometres, where I'm going to use my house as an overnight control. Everything's ready there for when I get back. All my devices will be plugged in to USB cables. I've got all that ready in the utility room by plugs. I've got 2 bottles of squash which I'll instantly replace on the bike, all my food that I'll replenish in the bag. I've got an LED light already charged up. I'll just take that one out and put the new one on, and then straight in the shower, have some food, hopefully get at least 90 minutes sleep, and then set off from Bath westwards over the Berkeley Vale for the final 100km loop. As I left Bath on the busy A4, I came up Box Hill, which is the only really hill of any significance today. The route follows fairly flat terrain all the way up to Buckingham, and then when it parallels back, the next really big hill will be as I descend down Bannertown into Bath just before I get back to my house tonight. It's now about 9 AM. I'm in the middle of Oxfordshire on some really quiet roads. You can tell it's a lovely day today. Blue skies, very, very warm. It was a slightly nippy setting off at 5 o'clock this morning, but it's soon warmed up. The temperatures are forecast to stay in double digits even overnight, so it should be quite a mild night ride. No real need to stop at Oxford, not for food. There is a lot of stopping and starting with the traffic. It does take a while to get through there. And then after that it's a fairly fast stretch up to my halfway point, Buckingham. It's gone 11:30 now. I'm on this really nice flat stretch heading up towards Marsh Gibbon. I got through Oxford quite easily. I got through most of the lights which sometimes hold me up. Pretty much went through them all in green. There was a couple of little junctions where I had to stop, but yeah, considering it's a weekday, I'm quite pleased with how quickly I got to Oxford. It's coming up to 1 PM and I'm sat at my halfway point for today's ride in the middle of Buckingham. Very, very warm here. I'm going to sit and have a sandwich, just watch the world go by for half an hour and turn round and head back home. About 4:15 now, in the heart of the Cotswolds. I've just dropped down into the Windrush Valley. I'm going to take a right hand turn there, just go a few miles along to the tourist town of Burford in the Cotswolds. Had a bit of a mid-afternoon dip in my tiredness, actually, not really in energy. It didn't seem to slow me down, just felt sort of a bit groggy, so I'm going to stop at Burford and get a sugary drink and an ice cream, hopefully. Less than 100k to go back to Bath, about 59 miles. Quite a milestone, actually. I'm over halfway of the entire 400-kilometre ride. It's just gone 7:30 PM. I'm now just north of Malmesbury. I've got about 26 miles to go. What's that, about 43 kilometres? Back to Bath anyway, before the final 100 kilometres. So I'm doing quite well for time. Hopefully be home about 10, maybe a little bit after than that, because I have to take it steady in the dark. I'm just having a quick snack at this little garage on the roundabout just before I drop down into Malmesbury, the garage on the main road by the water tower. It's now 9:15 PM and I'm just about to drop down into Bath. I've just passed through Marshfield and that's looking down in St Catherine's Valley right below there. Carry on along here, join the Fossway, and then there's a really steep drop down into the centre of Bath. Should be home by 10 o'clock. The plan is to try and be in bed for 10:45, set the alarm for 12:30. That gives me 90 minutes sleep, and I allow myself about 10-15 minutes to sort of get off, and then up at 12:30, have some breakfast and a coffee, and then try and be on the road for about 1:15, something like that. That gives me nearly 8 hours to finish the final 100 kilometres. It's not even 100, it's about 99, I think. That should be ample. As planned, I got back to my house at the 303 kilometre mark, bang on 10 o'clock. Just had a shower, replenished all the bits on my bike, so it's ready for the next stage when I get up. And I'm just having this lasagna now, really craving salty, meaty food. Then 90 minutes in bed with my darling wife. It's now 1 AM in my house in Bath on Wednesday, July the 22nd, and I've just woken up half an hour ago after 90 minutes sleep. So I got back at 10 PM, had a shower, some hot food, and then pretty much went straight to bed. Before I did any of that though, I just replaced the water bottles on my bike, so everything was waiting for me this morning. Plugged everything in there, like my Garmin, my lights, recharged everything, replenished my saddlebags, so I'm ready to go in about 10-15 minutes. Because I've calculated the time allowance, even though it's not an official audax, just it allows me to manage the time, and my cut-off time for this ride would be 2 minutes past 9 AM this morning, so this gives me nearly 7 hours to do less than 100 kilometres. It's 3:38 in the morning on Wednesday the 22nd of July now. I just pulled into a bus shelter near Ley Hill. I've got 39 miles left to go, and that gives me 5 hours 20 minutes, so I'm doing okay for time. On the bicycle track coming out of Bath, it was nice and mild. I guess the tree canopy kept heating. The minute I got off the bike track onto main roads, there's that pre-dawn nip in the air, so I'm going to put on another layer. Might even put on my woolly hat here actually. There's quite a big descent coming up as I join the A38 and then turn off it into the Vale of Berkeley. Also flagging a little bit energy wise. I had a cup of coffee when I got up and half a bowl of cereal, but I struggled to get that down. Now I'm going to have a sandwich and a couple of mouthfuls of Coca-Cola. It's now 4:45 in the morning. I'm at the very lovely small hamlet of Hill. Lovely wooden bus shelter now. I've sheltered in there so many times and snacked, sheltered from the rain. It's virtually light. Right in the heart of the Berkeley Vale. This is a control on Barry's Bristol Bullbuster. It's coming up to 10 to 8 in the morning on Wednesday, July the 22nd. I'm back in Bath. In fact, I'm a couple of streets away from my house, so it's literally just downhill a few hundred yards to the finish. Before I head off home, have some breakfast and then dive into bed, maybe just a little bit about why I rode this 400 and the 300 a few weeks ago. During the lockdown, I realised I was losing a lot of fitness, even though I was turbo training and using the treadmill and the rowing machine. I could tell my endurance was going. I set myself a little goal of doing a 50, 100, 100 and 150 DIY, and then possibly getting to a 200. And I've done 6 or 7 200s now, and I was in the garden one evening. I think I'd had a few beers and we were barbecuing, and I thought, why not set yourself a Super Randonnee series? It can't be validated because the AUK system's locked down, but there's nothing to stop me doing it myself. So that was the objective. I've done, like I said, several 200s. I did a 300 a few weeks ago, 400 today. Am I going to ride a 600 before the end of September? I don't know. At this moment in time, the thought was not very appealing, but in a few days' time, when I got over the stiffness and the soreness of this, and if the buzz is still there, probably I'll start thinking about it. Anyway, heading home now, see my darling wife, and as usual, thanks so much for watching, and till next time.